Perfect. Okay. Go ahead. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for the Tehillim. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Frimet, for saying the Tehillim and the Tefillot for us. Bezrat Hashem, may we merit Yeshuot Besorot Tovot and the merit of us gathering together today. Here it's already Asarah B'Tevet in Eretz Yisrael, and it's Erev Asarah B'Tevet by you. And so it's actually one of the only fasts that falls out on a Friday, and we do not postpone it. And we're going to see why. Frimet's going to share a few words, and then I'm going to share a little bit as well. Go ahead, Frimet.
Okay, so as we know, here in Eretz Yisrael, we're already in Asarah B'Teves, and Asarah B'Teves is not a minor fast. It's the day that the Chassam Sofer says is, and quoting Chazal, that this is the day that the Kadosh Baruch Hu judges us, will we get the Beis Hamikdash this year or not? So we have to understand that each year that the Beis Hamikdash isn't built, it's like it's destroyed. So Asarah B'Teves is a very, very serious time, and you'll find here in Eretz Yisrael, even people take off of work because it's a day of davening, it's a day of connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where literally people gather all over in the Kaisel and the Kavar Achol and wherever the Mekayim Kadoshim are, literally to daven that we should have the Beis Hamikdash this year. And given everything that we've been through the last year and 3 months, I think everybody is feeling this need for Geula Shlema already, and the need to have the Beis Hamikdash back. The fact that we can all get together and daven is a major thing, because this is what this night is all about. It's all about getting together and davening that for one purpose. It's true that we all have chaylim and we all have different people and that need different things, and we should continue davening to them on the Asarah B'Teves. But our main focus is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we should be zeicher that finally that we should have the Beis Hamikdash back, especially with everything going on. Klal Yisrael has been through so much since last year, Simchas Torah, and this is the day. This is it's a very crucial day. So I urge everybody that every second that you get for Tehillim and for davening, Hispaidus, whatever you can do, is such a major thing. Every word of Tefillah on today is a major help to Klal Yisrael, because every single tefillah counts, every word of tefillah counts, because literally, according to the Chassam Sofer, this is just like Yom Kippur. So I want to wish everybody that just like on Yom Kippur, we wish that it should be a year full of bracha and hatzlacha and only good things. We should be zeicha as Klal Yisrael, that we should be zeicha for a year of only good things, especially after everything that Klal Yisrael has suffered. We should be zeicha to finally see the Geula Shlema and the Beis Hamikdash, and we should be zeicha to see everybody here in Eretz Yisrael.
Amen ve'amen. Bekarov mamash. Mamash. We should see everyone here. Should be zocher to Yeshuot for all Am Yisrael. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to turn my camera on. So like Frimet said, it's a very, very special day. It is a fast day. And it's interesting that usually when we have a fast day, we have, people wish each other, you should have an easy and meaningful fast, right? You ever heard that? And it's interesting because, why would you say that? The whole purpose of a fast is not that it should be easy. We're not looking to eat less. It's not a day of dieting, It's a day of contemplation. It's a day of us being able to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu, being able to do tshuva, and being able to, to mamish work on ourselves, right?
Thank you so much for thinking of me and including me. You're
Ooh,
so special.
sorry.
You're doing
What's going on here? There's a message. Apologize for that. So it's a day of contemplation. It's a day of tshuva. It's a day of us connecting to the Borei Olam. Why are we saying we should have an easy and meaningful fast? Really, we should turn it around and we should say we should have a meaningful and easy. Because of course it is hard to fast, but the whole purpose of the fast is not that it should be easy. And that's what we're going to talk about, is what is the purpose of Asarah B'Tevet? Why are we really fasting? So as you see behind me is the Kotel HaMaravi, and I was just there today. Baruch Hashem, I was zoche to be there. I'm zoche to live very close to the Kotel. I live in Bet Shemesh, and it's just about like 45 minutes drive. And why is it so unique? Why is it so special? Why does everyone gravitate towards the Kotel? So we know the Kotel, the walls that were surrounding the Beit HaMikdash. That's the only remnant that we have today from it. You know, is in the old city, all these walls, including the Kotel. It's not the only wall, but there are some of the gates and walls that are also there. And in essence, this day that we're commemorating is the day of the siege that was made around Yerushalayim. Let me see if I could just want to be able to read to you some information. So it's the day that really commemorates the beginning, the first of the 4 fasts that we have, which relate to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. And it's the first of the 4 that Chazal decreed for us. And we're told here in order, really, if we look at in terms of the year, right? We have the 17th of Tammuz, which is in the 4th month, the 9th of Av, which is in the 5th month, the 3rd of Tishrei, which is in the 7th month, and the 10th of Tevet is in the 10th month. This we're counting, of course, from the time that the Jews became a nation. And of these 4 days in their respective months, the Navi says the fast of the 4th, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th, that relates to the month, right? In the future shall be for the house of Yehuda for joy and happiness and holidays. And it's interesting. Why? Because these days are really days in terms of commemorating the destruction, the downfall of the Jewish people, of the Beit HaMikdash, as opposed to the Jewish people, Chas v'Shalom. Hashem wanted to destroy that, right? And it's interesting that the 10th of Tevet is the 10th of the 12 months also, just by the way. And the summit says, I'm reading here from Rav Ginsburg, Yitzchak Ginsburg of Inner Org, the sum of the 4 numbers, interestingly enough, he says, the 5th, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, the 10th, is 26. All these numbers of the months equals 26, which we know equals the name of the Shem Havaya, the Shem Hashem, right? These are relating to the months. The numbers are relating to the months. Together equal 26. So 17 plus 9 plus 3 plus 10, right? That equals 26. And 13, he says, is the value of the word Echad. 26 and 13, and both the names of the value of the Havaya Echad. Havaya is 1. 26 plus 13 equals 39. And he says that 26 plus 39 equals the Shem Adnut. The value of the days together, all of them, equals Adnut 65, which is master of the universe. And so he's bringing down, like, obviously at a deeper level, that these days don't just reflect Stam days, but that these are the days that are going to be commemorated as celebration when we have the rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash. They will no longer going to be fasts. But currently we are fasting. Why are we fasting? because we want to be able to connect to Hashem on a deeper level. And Rav Lubinsky tells us, he explains that if we look at the purpose of a fast, the purpose of a fast, like we said, is to do tshuva. It's to be able to contemplate our ways and to be able to change the inner ratzon, our inner will. And when we have, a destruction, the siege was at the beginning of the breakdown, right? First we had a siege around Jerusalem. Then we had, on the 17th of Tammuz, is the breach of the walls, right? The breaking of the walls. And then we had the burning, right? As they got into the Beit HaMikdash, they burnt it on Tisha B'Av. That's the period of the 3 weeks. It's interesting that Tevet comes out much earlier than the other times that we're talking about, which is in the summer. But this month of Tevet is synonymous with the month of Tammuz, we're told, because this month of Tevet, if we look at it on the calendar, it's like, we look at it, it's like a cross. Like we put it, if we put the different months in like a round circle, you see that it's a cross, because both these months relate to Esav. In this month, the Shem Havaya, every month the name of Hashem is represented in a certain way, and the name is all mixed up. It's not in the order of the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey. And the reason for that is that there's tohu in this month. There's confusion in this month. There's darkness in this month of Tevet. I'm going to talk about the name Tevet as well. And this chaos is representative, is characterized with the qualities of Esav. Esav is the twin brother of Yaakov, and Yaakov, we know, he embodies the qualities of patience, of order, of interdependence, healthy boundaries, respect for individuality. And Esav is the opposite of this. Esav is impatient. We know that he came and he just wanted to eat the adashim, right? Just give me that adoma zeh, that red soup, right? He wanted to eat it. He wanted to just take it and grab it. He was willing to sell his birthright. He represents the physical, the existential, the immediate, and impatient, and even angry qualities. And this month of Tevet is representative of this midah of anger. Now, anger is a quality that can also be used in a positive sense, just by the way. Anger is not just a negative quality. Anger is also passion, right? There's passion that we can use it towards doing mitzvot, towards doing good to others, to be passionate about doing something, beratzon, to do the will of Hashem, to be able to connect to Hashem. But this midah of Esav, we see, is with anger. And this anger is representative of this month of tohu, of confusion, of disorder. And this, in the spiritual world of tohu, Rav Pinson tells us, where every divine attribute senses its own self-importance and therefore remains apart from the others. Each attribute expresses itself fully, which on some level is a positive thing. However, their individual expression occurs without regard for the existence and importance of the others, which is ultimately what leads to the ensuing chaos and conflict, right? Tohu is synonymous of confusion, of chaos, of conflict, of not getting along. And here we see this instant gratification of Esav, the midah of Esav, in a sense, that's ruling during this month. Our job is to try to change that, physical aspect, the attribute of the heat that relates actually to heat, and to be able to because anger is synonymous with heat. We say also charon af, right? We say when we talk about anger, it's representative of the flaring of the nostrils, right? Somebody gets angry, he gets burning mad, right? That's the word that's used. And this is the heat that we're talking about. And that's also the sort of the bodily sensation that a person feels when a person is angry. And so we have to work on this. And what happens when a person is angry? They get shortness of breath, their heart rate beats much faster. There's a rise in temperature, and they get tension, right? That muscular tension, and this month also is synonymous with where anger lies, which is in the liver. The body part that relates is the liver. The liver, we know, is filled with blood. Dam wa nefesh, that's the nefesh of man. And so all this is sort of representing the anger, the negative aspect of this month that we have to sort of subside and control and use it in a positive way. And in order for us to be able to rectify what happened during this time of Tevet, we need to reflect upon what was going on at that time. And we know that the Nevi'im at the time were warning, especially Yirmiyahu, were warning the Jewish people that they should do tshuva because destruction will come and Hashem will destroy the Beit HaMikdash. But unfortunately, they didn't listen. They didn't heed the call. And there was major avirot that were being done at the time. The first Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of the 3 cardinal sins we know. And the second Beit HaMikdash was for Sinat Chinam, but in essence, really, when they weren't following the Torah and the mitzvos, right? And today, if we are not, we don't outwardly do avodah zarah, but we do certain things that, that reflects upon our rejection, so to speak, of the mitzvot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, because we're not giving them chashivut. We don't give them enough importance to be able to rectify and to make changes of of the things that we're supposed to. For example, our speech, right? Our speech and the way we talk. And actually, the letter that is representative of this month is the letter Ayin. The letter Ayin, also in Hebrew, Ayin is an eye. Right? And what is this letter represent? This letter, Ayin, which is like the Ayin that we're talking about, right, is the eye. The eye is synonymous of seeing. And how are we supposed to look at things? How are we supposed to see things? Our problem is that we speak badly. Why? Because we see things in a negative light, in a negative fashion. And our job is to be metaken, the way we look at things, our outlook, our view of things, and how we view people. And oftentimes we judge people, and we utilize our speech in a negative way, as opposed to thinking positively and speaking positively, right? We think negatively, we judge them, and then we come to speak negatively about them. So it begins with the ayin, it begins with the eye. And so we need to look at this ayin. What is an ayin? We know in Pirkei Avot it says ayin tova, right? A person who has an ayin tova, a good eye, he's able to see people. He's able to look at things in a positive way, right? It says the eye is the seat of our optical potential, right? What we're able to see. We have to see things in a way that we can perceive it in a positive way. That we can, we look at things on a higher level and raise it to the level that's necessary to be able to refine the way we see things, our sight, right? And we're told that it says that the Ibn Ezra and Rabbeinu Levi ben Gershon, who's the Ralbag, they actually speak about the concept of the sight, right? That's most refined sense. The Ramban and some other Rabbanim are brought down here, tell us that actually he says that they say that the eye is not the most important one, but the highest one is the hearing, right? Which is the deeper sense. But if we look closely really at what is this ayin? Ayin also represents the number 70. And 70, what's the significance of 70? In the Torah, 70 is the full head count of Yaakov's family, we know. right? When Yaakov went down to Mitzrayim, it says he descended with Shivim Nefesh, right? The 70, people that went down. We also know that Shivim Umot HaOlam, there are 70 nations of the world that are representative of all the Goyim. 70 is also the number 7. 7 is the way the world was created. Created 6 days, on the 7th Hashem rested. So it's actually also representative of the divine, the Shabbat. 70 is really, it's as an amplification of the power of 7 multiplied by the 10 Sfirot and the channels of creation which circulate and filter the infinite light of Hashem into finite manifestation. And therefore the world or worldliness is hinted to by the number 70. And within the 70 nations of the world, the letter Ayin is specifically connected with the nation of Edom. And we know Edom is Esav. Edom is the Roman Empire, and the essence of the contemporary, Western world that's called today. And the first word in the Torah to start with the letter Ayin is the word Al, right? Al, for the pasuk says v'choshech al pnei tehom, and darkness was upon the surface of the depth. And there's great significance the first time a word appears in the Torah, or a letter appears in the Torah. And so we see, what is the ayin here talking about? Choshech, right? Darkness. And so this is what we're talking about with the chaos. When we don't see there's darkness, this chaos. Light brings us clarity, brings us the ability to see, the vision, right? And darkness is synonymous with chaos. If there would be darkness all the time, there would just be chaos. We wouldn't be able to function. We wouldn't be able to deal with anything in life, right? So this ayin, he says here, or Pinson, relates to the pnei tehom, the surface of the deep. And it's interesting to note that the ayin, which means the eye, right, is specifically said to remain on the surface of al pnei tehom, right, as it were of much deeper depth, which cannot or will not penetrate. And according to Chachamim, this choshech alludes to the galuyot. The four things that are mentioned, the first pasuk in the Torah, when it mentions tohu, vavohu, v'choshech, right, al pnei tehom, v'ruach elokim al chafet al pnei hamayim, these are relating to the 4 galuyot. And this choshech relates to the galut of Yavan. That this was the choshech that they represented. The darkness alludes to the Greeks. And tehom, right, is related to what we said is Edom, is Rome. And therefore the ayin, which represents the physical and all the nations of the world, is intricately bound with Rome and the archetype of Edom. And so Edom, which actually we know Edom means Adom, right, like red, right, it's the color that's most associated with the Roman Empire. And it's also, we talk about the planets. Mars is also associated, because that's their deity, so to speak, we're told. It's like the deity of war. Okay, and I'm thinking of we're going back to Edom, Ha'adom Adom, when Esav wanted to eat the lentils, right? And it was red. It was red. Also, he was called the Admoni. He was red. He was ruddy. He had a ruddy complexion. And so this is the culture of which is representative with the color red of Edom, of Esav. And the name Esav even means the words asui. Asui is that he was made. He looked like he was grown up already. And Esav himself also begins with the letter Ayin. Okay, and so this letter Ayin symbolizing of Esav, and when we know that Yaakov represents the neshama, Esav represents the guf, the body, and the Torah describes Esav's drinking and eating and wanting and he only was in the physical. He was involved in the physical, and that actually brought him down. It says that Esau had potential to become great, but because he acted with his guf and separate himself from the neshama part, only his head was merited to be buried in Maras Machpelah, and we see that, right? Because his guf was involved with Averos, was involved with Tumah. It wasn't involved with, doing the will of Hashem. And so, so therefore, this month, which is representative of the ayin, right, is our ability to be able to use the ayin to do good, is a way to be metaken this month of Tevet, to bring tikkun, because that's really what Tevet's all about. And Asarah Tevet, which is the only, holiday. We don't have holidays except for we have Baruch Hashem, we have Hanukkah, which brings light to this month. But we have a day that we commemorate that will be a holiday, Bezrat Hashem. It's a fast day now, right? Because of what happened. But Chazal tells us it'll become a big day of celebration. So this day that we're supposed to be fixing, right? The purpose of a fast day, the Rambam tells us, is to do tshuva and to be, what's it called? Mechapes, right? And a person should, not mechapes is another word, mefashfesh, b'maasav. A person has to look into his deeds and make a cheshbon, a nefesh, of what is it that I did or didn't do right in my day. And that is what we do on a fast day. A fast day is primarily to do tshuva. It's in order to be coming back to Hashem, lashuva Hashem. And so here we see that the ayin, which is representative of chaos, which is representative of negativity, is also an ayin tova. There's also a good ayin, that we have to use the ayin not for ayin ra, ayin tova, to see the good, to see the positive, to perceive people in a positive light, to perceive things that happen to us in a positive light. When a person does that, really that in essence is bitachon. That in essence is emunah, right? That in essence is emunah and bitachon. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, oh, very nice. Thank you, Frimet, for sharing. I see you shared something. I wasn't able to see it because I was off the screen. I see Frimet shared the 4 Galios and how it represents each one of the nations. Is that what it is? Frimet, do you want to say something about it? Okay, I guess you're off the screen. I can't see it fully, but I'll look at it soon. So here we see that this is what we're supposed to be doing, is to be metaken, our ayin, to look at things in a positive light, to have a good outlook on things and to see the good. Another thing with the ayin is shmirat ha'einayim. We have to be careful to guard our eyes from not looking at the negative and not looking at things that might cause us to come to do an avirah, right? When you look at something, it makes you think about something, and as a result, you act upon it. And so a person has to have shmirat ha'einayim. It's usually, for men, but for women as well. We have to be careful what we look at, what we bring into our home, for our children to look at, right? And we have actually, we said the beginning of Tevet is Hanukkah, right? We had Hanukkah, and so the flames of the menorah were me'ir. They brought a tremendous light that we are supposed to look at. Looking at that light is supposed to give us chiyut, it's supposed to give us or ganuz, tap into a spiritual light, a holy light. And when we look at them, it's also bringing us a tikkun for our eyes. So we have that also, especially in Zot Chanukah, the last day, which comes out already in Tevet. And these flames of Chanukah are synonymous of us being able to be mitaken. We're told that the flames of menorah are actually an antidote to this chaotic way of looking at things, right? The tohu-based vision, seeing only immediate opportunity, seeing things at what they are and not looking at the bigger picture of things. And so the Hanukkah lights have the power to heal our eyes and to rectify the damage of any negative sight that we might have had throughout the year. And so Baruch Hashem, we have a little bit of this it's not a little bit, it's tremendous But this all is able to sort of bring a little more of a tikkun to this month, which represents the ayin. Also a little bit about Tevet. So Tevet is otiyot tov bat. We're told that the letters of Tevet are representative of having relationships, good positive relationship. And tov bat is to be in a good relationship with the bat, with the female, with the feminine. And this feminine relates to the woman, and it also is feminine that relates to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So in general, this month is a good time to have positive relationships, to try to enhance our relationships with others and also with our spouses. This is the koach that we have in this month to change and to twist that impulse, that negative, unhealthy physical, right, outlook that Esav has in this month, and to utilize it for tov. And it says tov bereshit tohu. It relates to the month tet, vet, and taf. And these are the first words in the Torah to begin with tet, vet, and taf. Tevet is tov, right? Ve'al Elokim ki tov. Bet is bereshit, first word of the Torah, and the taf, the taf is tohu. And these are the words that we're told that the world of tohu, right? The world of negativity, the world of chaos, the world of just the physical, right? We have to bring it into a state of tikkun and bring it into the tov, bring it into the goodness. And in this way, how do we do it? We spoke about it. We said our ayin tov, by gazing at the lights of the menorah, by looking at things that are good, by steering away from negativity, by utilizing the ayin to have an ayin tovah, which is an ayin of chesed, right? To be on the side of chesed, of kindness, right? When we view others with chesed, with an ayin tovah, we can rectify and enhance the goodness in our relationship and in any relationship, right? Try to look at the good of what our spouse is doing for us. Try to look at what our friends are doing to us in a positive way. And that creates a connection and more intimacy. And that's the koach of this month, that we have to be able to connect and relate to others and have good relationships with others. And that's the tov bat, also the tov bat, the positive, good quality of the bat, of the feminine. Bat is a girl, right? And that's the koach that we have to connect to, and relation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we know in terms of the intimacy is looked at not as a negative thing, it's looked as a positive thing. It's looked at something very spiritual, very holy. And when we connect with our spouse, really we're connecting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says, Ish ve'isha shechina shuya b'nehem, right? A man and a wife, they have the shechina between them. And their shechina is what brings the yichud, brings the oneness, and it brings holiness to their intimacy. And it says that the shechina rests there. It says this is the koach of the Ein Sof, the power of infinity, which is revealed in the yichud, in the connection of the husband and the wife, and in their relationship. And again, we're talking about something that's going to bring tikkun in this month. Now, the sense of this month, I know I'm touching about this month, it's supposed to be Basar B'Tevet, but this is also what's going to help us to do our tshuva. It's part of the tikkun of this month. So that's why I'm mentioning things that relate to Tevet, not only Asarah B'Tevet. The chush, every month has a chush, has a quality that connects to the month. And the chush of this month, interestingly enough, is the sense of sleep, right? The sense of sleep is related to, sorry, that was last month, it was the sense of sleep. This month, the chush is rogez, which is we mentioned, anger, wrath, right? That he says, Rizal tells us that anger harms the body. Anger, especially, he says, harms the body and especially the eyes. He says, my eyes have grown dim because of anger or sorrow. This is in Sefer Iyov. Anger clouds our holy higher vision, and it obscures our deeper insight. And therefore, we have to work on our roges. We said that every quality, every midah, we're able to tap into it in a positive sense. There's always, like, a midah has a negative and has a positive, right? It's not just negative. Every midah that we have, we can work on it and we can mitaken it for positivity. How do we mitaken the midah of roges, of anger? So we're told that Yitzchak had pachad Yitzchak, pachad. And pachad is also translated as rugza de Rabbanan, the anger of the sages, or rischa de oraita, which is the fire of the Torah. Roges can be utilized as passion. Roges can be utilized not as anger, as negativity that's going to, destroy, right, like a fire, but rather as a fire of passion, of desire for good, of desire to grow on a spiritual level. And in the language of the Zohar, there are two types of wrath. One type of wrath is blessed from above and from below, and it's called blessed. And there is a type of wrath which is cursed from above and below, and that we know is the anger, right? The negative, the destructive, the ego-based, right? And really, if we tap into the feeling that we have for something, we have to try to see the good in something and utilize our anger to have passion, to be able to, for example, for Risha'im, we're supposed to hate a Rasha. We're not supposed to love a Rasha. And our anger towards a Rasha, or somebody who speaks against the Jews, right? It comes from our passion of our Eish of Torah. It comes from a good quality. It's not coming to just destroy, right? We know that Jews have Rachmanut, but for a Rasha, you're supposed to hate a Rasha. You're supposed to hate people who do evil to other people, right? That's a good quality. Now, unfortunately, unholy and ego-driven anger is by far the more common, right, quality that there is. And we need to tap into the good quality. We don't want to use anger to be impulsive and imploding and chaotic and exploding on others and hurting others' feelings. We have to be careful where we use it. And like we mentioned, the kaved, which is filled with blood, is the organ that relates to the anger. It's like the seat of the anger. Kaved even means, like, kaved is heavy, right? It holds a lot. And so a person who wants to be metaken and help fix his liver, so to speak, you got to watch your anger. You got to be careful not to get angry. You got to be careful not to utilize anger in a negative sense. Unholy anger is referred to, like we said, kas. And kas, if you look at the word kas, is kaf, ayin, samech. The middle is the ayin, right? Again, the ayin, the eye in the middle eye, right, is our sense, our chosh, and it's actually hidden, right? It's in the middle, kas. The word kas, kas, he says here, the word kas, kuf samech, like kes, without the ayin, is the root word for the word hidden. That's what it is. Kaf samech is hidden. And an unholy anger, our inner eye, is hidden. And all we can see is our anger, right? Is our being angry, is about ourselves, is being egoistic and egotistical and self-oriented, right? That's hidden. You don't see the eye there. You don't see the good. You don't see the good in others. It's interesting. He's bringing here how anger relates also when we're in terms of eating, because that's what Esav was doing. We're not going to get into that. So getting back to what we were saying about about Asarah b'Tevet, really we need to reflect upon our inner ratzon, that the beginning of the destruction that came about now in Tevet, right? The beginning of the crumbling of the walls, because they first had to be the siege, and then they broke through it, and then they actually broke through the barrier. So this is it's a chaos that's sort of in a systematic way it happened, right? They didn't just break through the walls and burn the Beit HaMikdash. Everything happened in order. And so that is something that we need to reflect upon ourselves. Rebuidling says that we are a Mikdash Me'at. What are we doing? So we're doing tshuva on the day of a fast day. Why? Why are we doing tshuva? Because Vasuli Mikdash v'shachanti betocham. Bnei Yisrael should make for me a Mikdash, and I will dwell in them. It doesn't say in it, because every person is a microcosm of a Bet HaMikdash. He's a mini Bet HaMikdash. And so when we do things, we are building our Bet HaMikdash. When we do mitzvot, when we do chasadim, when we give tzedakah, when we help others, we are adorning and beautifying ourselves, our neshama. We're connecting to the inner part of man, of who we truly are, our essence. And so we need to try to reflect upon what is our inner ratzon, what is our will, what is it that we want to do. And Rebuidling says that the destruction, just as it was destroyed slowly, gradually, so too in terms of our avodas Hashem. When we don't do certain things, it doesn't happen automatically that there's a destruction. It doesn't happen automatically that we gain weight in one day, right? Or a doctor tells you, you gotta stop eating all that fat, all the cholesterol, because, what do you think? Why do you think this happened to you? If a person chas v'shalom suffers from high blood pressure or have had chas v'shalom heart attack, it wasn't sudden. It didn't happen just from nowhere. It came as a gradual process. And the same thing in terms of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, so too in relation to us, that when something happens, a person has to look at the gradual process of how it came about. So what was the inner ratzon of the person? Where were you looking? What was your perception of things? And maybe you didn't look where you needed to look, right? To be able to rectify a certain midah, to be able to fix something, to be able to do more avodas Hashem, to be able to be more Ohev Yisrael. Maybe we need to be more judged by people favorably, right? We have to look at where the core was and slowly be able to get to the essence of who we are. That we are not who we are just all of a sudden. It didn't happen. Like here it is, We come to do an avera because there is a degradation. It goes down, right? A yurida from a certain level that we were at that maybe we didn't work on a certain midah. And so this day of Asarah b'Tevet, we need to look at more closely to be able to see where is it that we need to be metaken and how can we fix this. Now, why is today so crucial? Why, out of all fast days, do we fast on Friday? And if it would fall on Shabbat, we would also fast, it says. It would never fall on Shabbat. But if this fast were to fall on Shabbat, that's how important this fast is. So like Frimet mentioned to us, on this day, the Betin Shalmala, I'm going to read to you, the Betin Shalmala judges us whether or not we're going to be deserving of the rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash, right? Because we said that these days, these fast days, if we commemorate them, they're going to become days of simcha. They're going to become like a Yom Tov. And so what are we supposed to be doing during this time? We're supposed to be mourning the destruction. And how do we mourn the destruction? By mimtiken ourselves. The destruction came about because they were mezalzel. They didn't act accordingly and respectively with what they were supposed to be doing, their avodas Hashem, right? They came to murder people, right? Avodah zarah, shfichut damim, gilui arayot, right? they went to do idol worship. They killed one another, and they were immoral relations. It means that the crumbling came from their mitzvot ben adam lechavero and mitzvot ben adam lemokom, right, to Hashem. And so we have to try to work on those things. And so Asarah b'Tevet says we don't really push off fast days, but Asarah b'Tevet, the Avud Raham tells us that if it would fall on Shabbat, we would still fast on Asarah b'Tevet on Shabbat. What we wouldn't do even for Tisha B'Av. Remember what we said, because this is the beginning of the Poranut, of the retribution. This was the beginning. And what can make the fast over the beginning of the siege of Nebuchadnezzar more severe than the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash? I forgot to say, Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians, they were the ones, right, from the first Beit HaMikdash that came and made the siege around Jerusalem. And what's so bad? Khatam Sofer, like Frimet was mentioning, he says that on the day Nebuchadnezzar surrounded Jerusalem, down below, the heavenly court sat in judgment above, and they deliberated to decree the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash or not, right? Whether or not there's going to be destruction of the Beit HaMikdash or not, until the ones saying to destroy outnumbered those who said not to destroy. And the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed on that year. And we know that any generation that we did not rebuild the Beit HaMikdash, it's as if we destroyed it, right? The generation that did not merit to rebuild it, that means we're still supposed to be metaken what was done all the years, because that means we didn't learn our lesson, right? And that's why we're mechuyavim. We are obligated today to do tshuva, right? And here it's brought down. That means that in every generation, there's a renewal of the destruction. And just like it was, when it reached the day of Asarah b'Tevet, the decree of the destruction began, similarly, in each and every year, the heavenly court reconvenes above to decide regarding the Beit HaMikdash for this year, whether it should be rebuilt or not. That's why this day is crucial, because this is the beginning of the Puranut. This is the beginning of the punishment. And so we need to rectify it right at the beginning. If we don't do that, it's as if we're coming to destroy this Beit HaMikdash today. Chas v'shalom. It's as if we are destroying it today, chas v'shalom. And so we need to be able to rectify it by doing tshuva on this day, even on a Friday, when we're supposed to be preparing for Shabbos. And even if it were to come on Shabbos, because of such a chashuv day that the Beit Din Shel Ma'ala was judging us. So Tisha B'Av is a fast for tragedy that already happened. It was for the Beit HaMikdash when it was destroyed. And it therefore does not push off Shabbat. But Asarah b'Tevet is on an impending decree. And therefore it pushes off the Shabbat. And you don't have to, and you do have to fast. And so therefore, the court decision of whether or not we will have the Beit HaMikdash this year is taking place now. Now, Asarah b'Tevet. And so we need to do our utmost to say to ourselves, what can I do to be mekarev and mezarez the geula? And you're here. So already you're at a good start. You came to listen to the shir, right? Or you're listening on YouTube to the recording. So this is already the fact that we have a ratzon. Remember we said we have to first look at our inner ratzon. The first Beit HaMikdash was our inner ratzon. The second Beit HaMikdash already was going deeper into the maasim, into what we did. And the third Beit HaMikdash, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to be built forever, so we don't have to worry. But now is our ability to rectify the beginning before we stepped into the destruction, right? This is now just the siege around the walls. right? It's just a siege around the walls. It's not yet destruction like the Bet HaMikdash, like the Tisha B'Av that we commemorate, right? The falling, the crumbling of the walls, and the burning of the walls, and the whole destruction of the whole thing. Here, there was a siege. And so we need to think, what is it that I can do? So we first said, Torah. Torah, learning Torah, is an antidote. Torah Tavlin, it's called an antidote. If we learn Torah, we're able to bring rectification because we want to understand what happened. Why did that happen? What do I need to do to make it different, right? So we're learning Torah. We're trying to understand what happened. We're trying to look back at the Torah, not as just a history book, but as a lesson, right? As oraita. It brings us, it brings us light. Torah is an antidote for a life. And if we look at Torah as a burden, we look at the mitzvahs as a burden, then we don't come to do them ba'ahava. We know that one of the things in besimcha, one of the things that we're judged on is if we do a mitzvah willingly and besimcha. Tachat asher lo avadat et Hashem Elokecha besimcha ubetuv levav. And that would be the next level. Now we're learning the Torah. Now we're learning the mitzvahs. How are we mekayem the mitzvot? Are we doing it be'ayin tova, the letter of this month, the ayin? Are we elevating our eye to a higher level to see things in a positive light? Do we think of the mitzvot as an ol, as a burden? Or do we think of the mitzvot as a schut? Sometimes you hear mothers, and mothers-in-laws saying, "Oy, everybody's coming for Yom Tov. Oy vey, right? Yom Tov is coming. Ugh, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do?" And that sounds very negative, right? I understand that's an all the family's coming. They're having, it's a lot. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to prepare. But if we look at it as Baruch Hashem, who wouldn't want to have their children over for Yom Tov? You don't want to sit by yourself, right? Think about it that way, right? Or Baruch Hashem, I have a Yom Tov to prepare for if you're not married, right? To do the mitzvah b'simcha, not, why do I have to do this? Why is everything on me? Talking to myself, because I always feel that way. It's like, I have to do everything, It's a schut, Baruch Hashem, that we have the ability to do the mitzvah. And that's how we have to look at it. So that's in our Torah, and that's in our avoda. How do we service Hashem? B'simcha ubetuv levav, be'ahava. We say this in our tefillot. Now we have to actually mean it, right? We need to do things be'ahava for each other, of course. Look at the ahavat chinam that's happening in Eretz Yisrael, the chesed, the amount of chesed that's happening here and across the world for the Jewish people, to show our love and our care for our chayalim, for the almanot, for the yatomim, right? People giving tzedakah, people cooking and baking for chayalim and for families, sending gifts, helping with different things with regards to the weapons of the chayalim. There's so much chesed going on, and even wherever you are around the world, right? How many times you got chesed from people around you? You received a cake, when you came to a neighborhood, or somebody, sent you something for Shabbat, or called you to invite you for a meal, right? There's a lot of chesed that goes on, but we could always do a little bit more. And that ahava should be ahavat chinam, not because you know the person, not because it's easy for you, or not because, you have to, but because you want to, because you care for another Jew. And those are two ways that we can, really express our love of Torah and the mitzvahs. And we said before, in terms of our ben adam lechavero, it's important to judge people favorably, to see the good. We have to use our ayin to be an ayin tova, an ayin of chesed, to look at somebody berachamim, bechesed berachamim, to refine the way we look at things, right? We talk about Yosef. Yosef, it says, Ben Porat Yosef, Ben Porat Ale Ayin, I think it says, right? So when we say to somebody, it's like bli ayin hara. Better we should say this pasuk, because ayin hara is you're saying there's ra. Ben Porat Yosef, you're saying, oh, Baruch Hashem, you have so many children, Ben Porat Yosef. It's a bracha, the way we say it. And this actually, it's not Sam, because we just finished reading the Torah of Yosef. You know, who was Yosef? What does he represent? You know, he was metaken, this midah of the Yesod, the foundation, you know, level. This tikkun was able to, where he was able to overcome a lot of negative traits, right? A lot of negativity that was happening around him. He was able to love his brothers. He was able to fight and ward off the midah, the attribute of the ta'ava, right? With Eshet Potifar, he was able to break free of sin. He was able to rise above. And this is what we, you know, need to be mitaken in terms of our relationship. This is the month of be mitaken, our relationships. Tov bat, like we said, right? I want to mention something else also that that I heard from Rebbitzin Yeager, and she relates it to Tovot, right? Tovot has in it the letters Vav. Tevet could be also Tovot, and the Tovot has the Vav. Vav is in Hebrew, the word Vav, right? The letter Vav, it looks like a hook, right? A Vav, that's the word, Vav, is a hook. And that's connections. That's what we said, is making connections, is having relationships that are Tovot, Tevet. We should have in this month, Besorot Tovot. How do we bring about a Tovot? By making those connections, by having good connections, by seeing the good of others, to be able to make those vavs, right? To make them better. How do we know that? From the lashon of lehativ et hanerot. On Hanukkah, when we light the candles, it says in the lashon of adlakat nerot, the adlakat nerot is called hatavat hanerot. It's not only Hanukkah; it's also in the Bet HaMikdash, right? The actual act of lighting is called hatavat hanerot, making the nerot tov, making them better, right? How do we make them better? By lighting them, by bringing more light. And this actually is a hint to the nerot of Hanukkah, which happens to be, it was in this month also. We lit the Hanukkah candles. It's brought down by the korbanot of the Nesi'im, right? The Aaron couldn't bring anything because all the Nesi'im had brought everything. Aaron was upset. And so there, Hashem, in Parashat Ba'alot Chat, Hashem tells him, you'll be able, your portion is greater than theirs, you'll be able to light. It says, Shata madlik umetiv et hanerot. And the Ramban tells us that we learn from there that there's a remez, that there's going to be a lighting in the Bet HaMikdash, right? And that's a hint to Aaron, the time of the Chashmonaim, that they're going to be able to continue lighting the light of the menorah that's going to be, rekindled in the time of the Bet HaMikdash. And we know that the Ner Chanukah is going to be forever. And so that's a hint to that as well. So this is the month also that it's a month, we said, of conflict, but it's also the month that actually Moshe's mother, it says that she hid him for 3 months, a hint to the 3 months. Tevet, interesting. The 3 months that relate to, we said, Esav. There are 3 months that relate to Esav. It's Tammuz, Av, and Tevet. Those are the 3 months. So what does it say? Titzpenenu shlosha chodashim. That Moshe's mother hid him. That's a hint that she hid him. It was hidden from poranut, that he was hidden from the negative qualities. He was taken away from the negativity of Esav. And Esav ruled over those 3 months that we mentioned. That's a hint to that. And so we have to change this month of Tevet to make it Tovot, to hear Besorot Tovot, to share good tidings with one another, to see each other in a good light, to be metaken our avoda, to bring more tov to this world. Of course, you're already doing amazing, good things, right? But increasing it, increasing the light. It happens to be that Kislev and Tevet are the darkest months. This is the month when there's so much darkness, much more than light, right? We have sunset already at, 4:45, 5 o'clock. Now it's later, but it was like at 4:30, because there's so much choshech during these months because of the chaos that we're talking about. So our voda is to break that choshech by bringing in more light. We had the light of Chanukah, Baruch Hashem, that we started the month with, but a person should not be bogged down by this negative energy that we spoke about of Esav, of the chaos that exists in this month. Rather, we should try to shine our light. And how do we shine that light? The light of Torah. Ki ner Hashem nishmat adam. The person's neshama, they're like a candle. And it says, Ki ner mitzvah v'torah or. The Torah is all, it's light. The more we learn Torah, the more we share Torah. I know for myself, when I haven't gone to a shir or I don't share Torah, I feel blah. I feel like it's so dark. It's like, come on, we need to give some light. So Baruch Hashem Zocha to give a shir tonight. And it's been a busy week, a few weeks, right? With Hanukkah and everything, Baruch Hashem. But we need to be able to connect that or of Torah in our life. And my friend Miriam Yerushalmi, she always says, women, we know how to daven, right? We know how to daven. We don't need a sitter. We can talk to Hashem all the time. It's just very important after we daven to learn a piece of Torah, to try to learn something to make the davening more muchash, more felt, because Torah connects us. It's not just words, that we're speaking, but it's bringing it down into actuality, right? That it's actually feeding our neshama, right? It's not just our guf, it's also our neshama that has to be connected. Just relating to what we said before, the vav, right, of tevet, like tovot, we need the vav is the hook, we said. That's representative of the achdut, that's going to be able to help us be metaken for the sinat chinam, for the baseless hatred. We need to have avat chinam. That's going to be the achdut, what we're doing now. But interestingly also, vav is equal to the number 6. 6 is relating to what we're talking about. We need Torah. Shisha sidrei mishnah. We have the 6 books of the Torah, Sheba'al Peh, right? That was given to us. That's our link. That's in order to be me'ached us. That's in order to bring us together, to integrate, right? The Torah with the achdus, with the shalom. And in order for a person to be able to connect, it says, Talmidei Chachamim marbim shalom ba'olam. That a Talmid Chacham brings shalom. They can integrate Torah with shalom, with achdut, right? And that's why a Talmid is called a chaver. Chaver milashon chibur. Chibur is connection, right? A Talmid Chacham is a chaver. It says eshet chaver. When someone's the wife of a Talmid Chacham, she's called eshet chaver, because he's bringing chibur. He's bringing that connection. And so this is what we need to do, is to connect us with the ner of the Torah, with the or of the Torah, ki ner mitzvah v'torah or, igniting the light through our learning of Torah, through our learning of mitzvot, to do the opposite of what the Greeks tried to do, right? They tried to take away the spirituality and just connect to the physical. We say, no, physical is not enough. We need the spiritual with the physical. We need to have that vav, that hook, that connection. We can't separate it. And so in this month, we need to learn a little more, infuse Torah into our life, and be able to shine this light of Torah by learning with others. You can invite others to be your chavruta, or to come to, make a shir in your house, invite somebody to speak. You can invite me to speak if you'd like, or listen to my shirim, right? And even learning something, even picking up a sefer and connecting with something. That is the koach that we have in this month to be able to break free to be able to shine light in the midst of the choshech that we're in now. And so this is what we need to do during this time of Tevet. There's more to share, but it's getting late. And I appreciate that you all were here. I give you all a bracha, the Bezrat Hashem, on this Tevet. If you didn't cook, it's still early for you guys there in America, or if you're in another part of the world. So if you could still cook tonight, do it tonight, so that tomorrow you can have some time to set aside to saying more Tehillim, to learning a little more Torah, to listening to a shir, to be able to connect, maybe do a mitzvah of chesed with others, bake a challah for someone, right? But this is a day that's utilized to be able to judge us. Hashem should judge us positively, right? So we have to also do things in a positive way, see people in a positive way, try not to argue tomorrow. It's hard. Friday's a hard day. Everybody's home. There's a lot to do. It's a short day. And the Satan always tries to get us. But if you prepare a little bit before, and if you learn a little Torah, and if you try to remember to keep a positive outlook and be positive in the way you look at others, then Bezrat Hashem, you'll be able to succeed in being able to do tshuva and to be able to build our mikdash me'at. And so that in that way, Hashem will judge us, so we should be able to build our real Bet HaMikdash, HaGadol, right here behind me, right? Bezrat Hashem, here in Yerushalayim HaBnuya. We should be zocheh to see it. We should be zocheh to celebrate it. And let's use the day, of course, I didn't say tefillah, but I'm sure that everyone got that. But we need to continuously also be able to pray tshuva, tefillah, utzedakah, ma'avirin et roa agzera, we're told. When we do tshuva, when we daven, we give some tzedakah also, right? Tshuva, tefillah, utzedakah, ma'avirin et roa agzera. They are able to push away the evil decree that chas v'shalom is upon us. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we should be written for a year filled with bracha and shefa. And even though it's dark and it's cold, just know that Shvat is on the way. Shvat is shenishma v'nitbaser besorot tovot. Shin v'tet. Shenishma v'nitbaser besorot tovot. But the tovot starts in Tevet. So we have to plant the seeds now, so that on Tu B'Shvat we'll be able to celebrate Rosh Hashanah ve'Ilanot, and Be'ezrat Hashem, the beginning of our Geula, the beginning of our sprouting, and we should be zocheh to Mashiach Tzidkenu, b'chesed v'rachamim, binyan bet hamikdash, b'chesed v'rachamim, b'karov v'mira b'yamenu, amen, selah. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all my friends that join me in Tefillot. If anybody would like to donate to Lev Ha'am, we're always looking for sponsors, and if you'd like to dedicate a share, please feel free to reach out to me, nesheilevhaam@gmail.com, NSHEILEVHAAM@gmail.com. Those of you who have my number, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you, Frimet. Thank you, Pamela, for being here. Thank you, Eliza. Thank you, Toby. Nice to see you here, even though I don't see you, but I see your name. And Leah, it's Leah Friedman. Welcome. And we had also some other people here who are no longer here with us. Thank you for all being here. And we also in Lev Ha'am, we try to collect money for needy families here in Israel. Baruch Hashem, we managed to give a little bit of money to Achnasat Kala to help a few friends here. A woman turned to me. She had one daughter who got married, then she had a son that got engaged. And in between, she's like, I have no money for food. I'm trying to pay for a wedding. So Baruch Hashem, we helped her with buying her Shabbos food. And really, she's so grateful. She's so thankful. And there's always needs. I just got approached by somebody. Toby, good to see you. I see you turned up your camera again. I got approached by somebody to buy coats for someone now in the winter. So if anybody would like to donate, we are collecting to buy coats for some needy families. And we help people with their rent. Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of needs here, and we're trying to do our best. We also gave to Chayalim. We prepared food for Chayalim, and we sent out also. We also gave donations. There's also a family here. If anybody would like to donate, I have some information that had a family that had a fire, and they're also collecting for them and cooking for them for Shabbat. So Baruch Hashem, there's always a need to do chesed. If anybody would like to donate Lev Ha'am, please reach out to me. I'll send you the links. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should hear B'sorot Tovot, Yeshuot. Anybody want to say anything before we sign off?